Hi there, I'm Peter Galli, Senior Open Source Community Manager at Microsoft, and with me today I have Gianugo Rabellino, our Senior Director for Open Source Communities, along with Garrett Serack, an open source developer, and Stephen Walli, the Technical Director at the Outercurve Foundation. So, Gianugo, you've just recently joined Microsoft in the role as the go-to guy for open source community. Tell us a little bit about why you chose to join Microsoft at this time in your career and in the company's history.
Sure. Well, Peter, I think this is the best time ever to join Microsoft. As I like to joke, I've sort of been paying my bills with open source for the last 20 years. And it's great that I'm able to do what I do best, what I have been doing for the last, again, 20 years here at Microsoft, where I'm seeing a lot of change happening, a lot of outreach to open source community, a lot of importance brought into open source and into open source communities, and this is a place where I think I can make a difference. I think I can help in this effort. So I'm overjoyed to be here.
As you said, you've spent most of your career in open source, working with open source communities. Tell us a little about what your new role at Microsoft involves.
So my new role here at Microsoft is twofold. On one hand, I'm here to foster the relationship of Microsoft with the open source communities. So reaching out to those communities and making sure that Microsoft and those communities have an ongoing dialogue. On the other hand, I've been tasked with the idea of going to the product groups and help them in their open source efforts and understanding the value of the community and how to engage with them and how to build this virtuous cycle of open source contributions to the ecosystem as a whole.
So I guess that means you're not the only face of open source at Microsoft, correct?
Oh my God, no. No. There are a lot of people that deal with open source as part of the daily job here at Microsoft. I'm tasked with the angle of reaching out to the open source communities, but there's a lot of people doing open source work here at this company.
So if anyone is interested in finding out more about Microsoft's open source community, you are the go-to person to help connect them in the company and beyond.
Yes, I would be the go-to person for open source community matters. So if anyone has questions about the way Microsoft engage with open source communities or suggestions on how we can do it better, yes, I'm definitely all ears.
Okay. And Garrett obviously is one of the many other people at Microsoft who works with open source communities. Can you tell us a little bit about the projects you're working on, Garrett?
So the project I'm working on right now is called CoApp, which is we're building a package management system for Windows that will enable us to build open source software on Windows a lot better and get it out to people.
How has the community helped you in building that?
Well, we've got people from a variety of open source communities helping us out. People from Apache, Python, PHP, a variety of open source communities, and they're all pitching in to help us actually, both build the design and actually build the product as well.
So one of the questions we often get asked is why does this matter to Microsoft's partners, customers, developers?
Well, I think the reason it matters is because open source matters. Open source is a lot of the world runs on open source, and we want to make sure that our customers have the ability to do that on Windows.
Right. And it's a project that forms part of the Outercurve Foundation, is that correct?
Absolutely, yes. It's part of the Outercurve Foundation, and it's one of the first projects there.
So Stephen, why don't you tell us a little bit about what separates or differentiates the Outercurve Foundation from some other foundations?
Well, so all of the foundations in the open source world, going all the way back even to the Free Software Foundation, basically organize a software IP management system for their projects. Some of them are based on a particular license. If you look at something like the Apache Software Foundation, the Free Software Foundation obviously cares about the GPL. The Eclipse Foundation is projects based around the Eclipse technology based on the Eclipse license. So the Outercurve Foundation feels there's an opportunity here that we would accept a project that is covered by any open source initiative approved open source license. So we're very agnostic towards license, we're agnostic towards technology. So there's not a particular technology bent. We've organized our projects around gallery themes. We've got a technology gallery on ASP.NET with several projects in it right now. Some of them have come in from outside Microsoft. There's a systems infrastructure and integration gallery holding a number of projects in there. And then our latest gallery was the research accelerators. And we have a number of universities that are building their projects within the auspices of the foundation. So for all of them, we end up We provide a neutral territory, if you will, so people, it's a better opportunity to build your community because no single company owns the software IP. We're a liability firewall for people. And as well, by having a simple IP management process, it encourages other people to adopt the technology because they can see the problem as the code.
So a lot of your recent career has been in open source, and you've obviously worked with Gianugo many times in the past. What is the fact that somebody like Gianugo is joining Microsoft in a very senior position as the Senior Director of Open Source Communities? How does that benefit the foundation, but also how do you, from your perspective, how does it benefit the open source community at large?
Well, so to date, Microsoft is our founding sponsor. So Gianugo provides that single point of contact for me, which is great. At the same time, we're looking for new projects all the time. And Gianugo is extremely well connected in the community, so I'm hoping that he's going to be finding us new sponsors and new projects.
Well, talking about that, you're actually heading off to Europe end of this week. And
Sure.
in talking to you earlier on, you were saying that part of your mission is to listen and to really hear what customers and internal and external communities at Microsoft are saying. Can you tell us a little bit more about that trip and what you hope to achieve?
By all means. So yes, indeed, I'm still in listening mode. This company is huge. There's this gigantic marketplace. So, and open source is all over the place. So I'm not done by listening, not by any stretch of imagination. So after a few initial months where I'm sort of touring the corporate headquarters here in Redmond, I'm ready to go and meet the people in the field. So I'm going to Europe, which, as you know, has been my home up until 3 months ago. And I'm going to visit a lot of countries and talk to a lot of people and try to understand their motivations, their issues, and how they can help us, building a better ecosystem. I don't touch the word ecosystem here because I believe that's the key idea behind open source. So this is what I really want to achieve. And at the end of the day, I sure hope that at the end of this trip, people will realize that Microsoft is more open than they thought, because that was what I realized firsthand when I decided to join this company and join their efforts.
Great. Well, we look forward to hearing more when you get back from Europe, and thank you, gentlemen, for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.